The head teacher of the school, Mr. Jope Bukadada, the chairman of the school, Reverend Adriel Sami, Director, Library Services, Mrs. Mirwalesi Vuete, Principal Education Officer, Primary Education, Marika Baleda, Senior Education Officer, Central Division, Mr. Mustafa Khan, Micah Maroda, Mary Nixon, not very popular in the library services. Head teachers and principals from nearby schools, distinguished guests from the area, teachers, ladies and gentlemen, and our dear children. Bulabanaka to you all, and good afternoon to you all. It's a pleasure to be here today. This week, yesterday I was at another school, Sridhar Maharaj in Nosori. So Nosori, Manabukasi. So this area is kind of having a more time of mine this week. I want to begin by thanking the leaders of the school, the Methodist Church in particular, and the division, and the leaders here, Reverend Sami, and the school managers, Mrs. Sarojini Prasad, sorry Mrs. Prasad, I forgot to mention you. Institutions are designed, determined and established by vision of leaders. And these leaders, they give their personal time, personal resources for the benefit of others. Mrs. Sarojini here, I don't think she has any children studying in this school, but is here because all these children belongs to her. All of them. She could have stayed home, relaxed, woke up a bit late, switched on the TV and watched those Gar Gar Kelly and all those kind of movies. Had some good meal, done some gossiping, gone to town to some shopping, but she didn't. And as a duty, she continues to come and see that the school is functioning well. And the chairman, he could have been at work, he could have done some additional part-time work to gain some additional revenue or income. But they have children at heart. Like all managers, all chairmen in Fiji, they have children at heart. They fully understand the vision that our Honorable Prime Minister has for educating our children and ensuring that every child in education gets quality education. Yesterday, after Cabinet, we were talking about Fiji's victory in Hong Kong Sevens. And I said to Honorable Prime Minister, I said, this is not only a win, this is quality win. Quality win because it was 22-0. That's what quality win is. Like quality pass we have, 50 out of 100 is not quality pass, that's a pass. But a quality pass is when you get 100 out of 100, or 80 out of 100, or 75 out of 100, that's quality pass. So, given the rivalry between South Africa and Fiji, that is how you send the message. And that was a quality win, thanks to our ambassadors in the Fiji Sevens team. Ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed to have school managers like this throughout Fiji and chairmen. We don't have too many managers managing our schools. And I want to thank the chairman and the managers for their personal time and the resources that they're devoting so that our children here gets quality education. Ladies and gentlemen, for long, our Honorable Prime Minister has seen, being in the back seat, how children from the remote interior maritime division and children from poor households, their dreams remain a dream of coming and completing their primary, high school and getting into university. Because obstacles such as financial resources prohibited them from finishing their primary school or finishing their high school or going to university. You will see a lot of people in the community, the elderly now, they were very bright when they were in primary school or so. But because they could not afford to pay a tuition fee, could not afford to pay for bus fare every morning because their parents did not have cash. In rural interior maritime division, you don't have cash every day, even 50 cents. Even though you will have meals because you are part of a subsistence economy. You can go out to the sea and fish and feed yourself. You can go to the plantation and uproot some cassava and dalo and feed yourself. But in the remote area, cash is not available, let alone having cash every morning to pay for bus fare. Larger amount of cash is not available to pay for lump sum tuition fee every term or buy expensive textbooks. This is what had contributed to inequality in Fiji's society, because the children of the poor household had to drop out and therefore they remained poor. So you will find interesting dichotomy that there is an intergenerational poverty because poor households' children remain poor, remain out of school, and their children remain poor, remain out of school, and they were never able to get out of poverty and hardship. So this inequality was perpetuated by past government's policies of education, which did not look at how we would make education accessible to everyone. Following 2006, our Honorable Prime Minister began a process of democratization of education where every household, immaterial of your social status, immaterial of your ethnicity or religious belief or where you originate from, they were given an opportunity to participate in the education process. And it is in this regard that our Honorable Prime Minister made education free from 2014. Bus fare coupons, textbooks, milk and Weet-Bix in year 1. All these were provided to ensure that our children did not have any reason to drop out. We have about 16,000 students in year 8. And we have about 7,000 students in year 13. What's happened to the others? From year 8 to year 13, you can see how the numbers have dropped. Ladies and gentlemen, we want every child to have basic education and then continue on and enter into the tertiary sector and acquire a technical skill or in the higher education stream through the universities. And our government will do everything possible to ensure that our children's dreams are realized and our parents' dreams tied up in children's dreams are realized. We do not want to go back to that era where dreams of children of poor households in the interior maritime division remained a dream. Ladies and gentlemen, in this regard, we changed the per capita grant formula so that poor, small schools in the remote area gets more per capita grant because they need a lot of catch-up with respect to infrastructure development. It is in this regard that we have provided them with more per capita grant. We are providing them with more per capita grant compared to larger schools in the urban area, as well as we have provided a lot of money, small grants, so that they can, every year they can upgrade the quality of infrastructure so that they too can have a library room and computer room like you. But library and computer room is a bit far-fetched. At the moment, they don't have a good quality ablution block. Some of the classrooms are leaking. Teachers' quarters are not very good, and therefore difficult to have teachers staying in the school. While in the urban area, we really don't need teachers' quarters to that extent, because teachers at least can rent somewhere, even though financially it'll affect them. But in the interior rural maritime division, there's no place to rent. You have to provide some form of accommodation. Hence, our priority has been over the last 3 years is to construct quarters, improve ablution block, improve the quality of infrastructure, the schools, and gradually start constructing library and computer labs so that our children coming out of interior maritime division can compete with children in the urban area at a level playing field. So while I do understand the importance of this school, because of the great need for more space here, we will allocate 25,000 to the school to construct the hall. But I want to seek your understanding of the importance of us allocating more resource to our sister schools in the rural and maritime division, because they are really behind. They need a lot of assistance, because some 40, 50, 60 years ago, those poor people in those communities constructed those schools. But past governments never every year assisted them to upgrade that infrastructure. And those infrastructure are falling apart. We've begun, over the last 3 years, we've invested about $14 million to provide grants, small grants, to continuously upgrade the infrastructure. But that process will continue for the next 15 years to make those infrastructure in those interior rural deep maritime school division equivalent to schools like this school and schools in urban, other urban schools. So we need your understanding so that our little children out there can also have decent ablution block to relieve themselves. Our teachers can have reasonably decent quarters to stay. Our staff, the head teachers and principal, can have a decent staff room. Those things that you take it for granted here, like putting your finger on the wall and you find a button and you press that button and light comes on, turning on a tap and you see water gushing out, those are not there in the interior rural division, maritime division. We need to organize for that, we need to provide for that. Ladies and gentlemen, we deeply believe that the long-term sustainable solution to improving the livelihood of people is to educate them, empower them, upskill them, so that they can be an entrepreneur or they can find meaningful employment in the formal sector. And that's what we are deeply committed to. And that's what our Honorable Prime Minister and our government has done, is allocating the largest amount of budget to the Education Ministry, 20% overall. No other small island states have allocated 20%, 1/5 of the budget to one ministry alone. So that demonstrates how much we are committed towards educating our children. But in this journey, we need support from stakeholders, parents, management, because our children are under enormous pressure now. You can hear in daily media how people are taking advantage of our vulnerable children. There are corrupt elements in the society who are pushing drugs to our little children, wanting to destroy their future just because they want to make some money out of them. They know they won't come to me and director or you because they know that we won't entertain them. But they're going to the children because they find them vulnerable. They think they can manipulate them. So ladies and gentlemen, we need to protect our children. Our parents need to protect them. Our parents need to talk to them. Our parents, when we were young, they didn't talk to us about staying away from drugs because it was not there those days. So I tell parents nowadays that there are a lot of things that you need to talk to your children about now, which was not required in our time because those things never happened. So those things that our parents used to treat as taboo during those era, we have to lift the veil and talk about those things. Because it's a reality now. Our children are being exploited. Someone in Nandi, our little children were sitting in the park waiting for the bus stand in Nandi, walked up to them, those little girls, and pushed them and got them to start smoking marijuana. These kind of people, corrupt people, should not exist in our society. While on one hand, our police is working very, very hard to eradicate the supply side, destroy the farms. On the other hand, we also have a duty to reduce demand by talking to our children. Our teachers are doing extremely a lot of work. They're talking to the children. But children also respect their parents, and our parents must talk to them as well, because that's the first source of information. That's the first teacher of our children. And our parents cannot continuously dump everything on our teachers in the school system. They have to play their role, play their part. And that is why we launched last year the framework on parental engagement. And we want our parents to use that framework and continuously talk to their children, because that's the way we can get them to understand that this era of their life won't come back, the school life. And they need to be totally focused on studies. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor today to be here to officiate the opening of the 3 classrooms, including the library and computer lab. I want to thank the visionary leadership of the chairman and the managers and the school head teacher who were able to deliver this particular 3 classrooms. We need head teachers like this who can steer the operational side of the school. And head teachers and principals determine the overall conduct and functioning and performance of the school. We need libraries in schools so that our children can undertake holistic development. Without libraries, our children will not understand the heritage they passed. Our libraries allow our children to know about the rest of the world, about the rest of the community and the society. We need to get our children to undertake open reading. And it is libraries which will allow them to go outside, beyond the textbook, and get to know the world and become responsible citizens of Fiji, and also become global citizens. It is libraries which will allow them to understand what's happening globally. No employer would want to employ any children which do not have IT skills. Those IT skills in our days were irrelevant, not required. There was hardly any computers those days. We were never, the first time I saw computer was when I was in the final year degree program, in the final year of the degree program. But these days, every child must have basic IT skills in order to succeed outside the high school system, whether it's in the labor market or whether they get into university. I want to thank the school for organizing that as well. I want to thank our Director of Library Services for facilitating, and her staff for facilitating the organizing of the library and providing the resources. And this is the kind of dynamic staff we have in the headquarters, which will allow us to maintain the integrity of our education system in this country. With these words, it's my pleasure to open the 3 classrooms, and I want to wish this school a very best, and I do look forward to either before July, if not after the once the new budget comes in, we will provide the 25,000 so that you can get started with this, with your corporate sector behind you in town. And I'm sure by end of this year we'll see this place, because the major cost of having the floor is done. So I will hope by end of this year our same team will come back and probably see the opening of this hall. Thank you. Naka.
From inside.
May this school help our community and build your kingdom of justice and peace. Therefore, Lord God, we dedicate these rooms in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Loving Father, listen to our praise, which we offer through Christ our Lord in your Holy Spirit. All glory to you, one God, forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
How are you? What's your name? What class? What year? What two? I come in and manager. Teacher, please join me. Come, hold. Naka. Okay. Just right. Okay. Just right. This is the primary school. They can then.
We drink it out, so the next second.
Excellent. Thank you. Lot, okay. Once there was a little. Lovely. What year you are in? Excellent.